Hey, nobody. Good morning. Someone is typing. Who is here today? How are you feeling?
I think the right is good morning from last night. In case they don't wake up.
Who is here? Only one good morning. Only one person is here. Wow.
We always start like this, my love. Maybe they make coffee like I did in the last minute.
No sound. Because maybe we can hear this. Can you hear us now? Can you hear me? Just say yes, because we had someone writing that is no sound. Morning. Hello, Luca. Sound is fine. Okay, great.
Bravo.
Right.
Okay, so.
No, if you put this, they will not hear us. Because here is the.
We cannot hear them also. What, my love? See, why we put this one in this case? Yes. Oh, Krasimir.
So, my love, what you wanted to talk with them today?
To tell them good morning, how they feel. By the way, this week, the president of Cyprus is going to announce how long we're going to stay and how long he's going to extend this quarantine. So we hope it's not going to be long. We hope everything will finish soon so we can go and get our normal things like walking next to the sea.
It's almost 1 minute.
I see. Very strange.
Yes. So we have some delay. That's why. Okay. Only Anna, apparently. Okay. So you wanted to talk about the person in 2 years?
No.
The ideal person.
What do you mean?
You were telling me yesterday you wanted to talk with them about who they would like to be in 2 years, the ideal person.
No. No, it's your ID.
Okay, it's my ID now. Okay. So we were thinking to talk with you about now that it's going to, end soon, this coronavirus, hopefully.
Well, how do you know this?
Okay, hopefully that
you are virusologic.
We're getting close. And so one question you maybe like to ask yourself, what the ideal person in 2 years would you like to be? How would you, how would you be in 2 years? The ideal, and sometimes we kind of limit ourselves about, what we believe about ourselves, when we're asking this kind of question. And something you can ask yourself is like, if I had no fears, who would I be, do, and have, And if the outcome, which is now you in this sentence, if the outcome will be ideal, how would you be, And you can also go beyond this and think also how this will repel, in your family, in your loved one, in your community, in the world. For example, if I picture myself more confident, expressing myself with ease, then I could share my message, and I could help more people. And so just start to have in mind about, what would you like to achieve and who would you like to be in 2 years? So,
hello, can I say something, please?
Okay, say something now.
It's not about, can you imagine yourself without fear? We need the fear. At least some kind of fear, otherwise we're going to be dead. Can you imagine without the fear of rejection and without expectations? In my case, not the ideal you. The person which is going to be your best friend, the person which you love, you're going to love, or even more. For example, me, so far I'm 100 something. I didn't measure myself these days. But I love to be in 2 years 90 kilos. Let's say in 2 years, because this can be achievable in less than 1 year. But 90 kilos, I want to have an income of 10,000 a month. I want to travel around the world, to work from anywhere I want to. I want to be confident in myself. I want to be calm. I want to be much more productive. I want to have a great time with my family and things like this. So basically, this is me. Oops, 2020. Up here. When I put myself that I love myself in 2022, most probably it's going to be a gap. 2022, I'm 90 kilos. 2020, I'm 110, let's say. So I need to start to see what I miss. I need to react as this person. I need to respect this person. And the new person need to meet the old person. The future me to meet the present me and to say and to talk to him. This is in my opinion. So, my love, you want to say something else?
Yeah, you can think.
Please don't fill the gap with sweets, with donuts, because of this is not going to work. If you fill the gap with more chocolate, it's not going to work. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, so the idea is also, yes, how would you think, if you, in 2 years, what would be your thoughts?
For example,
self-talk.
How the person of 10,000 euro a month thinks. Obviously, if you make 800 euro, you're thinking for 800 euro. How I can increase my self-worth? How I can think that I worth 10,000 a month? Not to create a new business and to get the same amount of money, because my self-worth is the same anyway. No matter what I do, I get the same money anyway. This is very nice exercise, and I encourage you to do it for yourself. Just keep it for yourself. Imagine your perfect self, and please let us know after how you feel.
Okay, so today we have a guest. So we have, let me bring her. So we have Barbara. So you met her last week. So Barbara, for those who doesn't know Barbara, she is the CEO of Clear Intention Internationals. She's an author, she's a coach, and she designed also her own techniques, which is the neuro-emotional coaching. And today she will be talking with us about getting the things done. So hello, Barbara. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you guys?
Perfect.
Thanks for having me. So, should I just jump in?
Yes, you are on now.
Okay. So, I thought it would be helpful if we talked a little bit about time management, right? Some good old-fashioned time management skills, because we are all going to be, so busy, and we have so many plans, and we want to get things done. So I'm going to give you a basic overview of time management and planning skills. And my challenge to you, I'm going to tell you right now, is along with your gratitude, I'd like you to spend 5 to 10 minutes every day planning the next day. Okay, so in the evening or at the end of your workday, take 5 to 10 minutes and plan and strategize for the next day. Okay, so first of all, let's talk a little bit about signs of poor management or time skills. So one of them that I see a lot is rushing around. People are getting to the appointment at the last minute, or what I understand in Cyprus, there's Cyprus time, which is not usually exactly the time that was agreed upon. Israel is a little bit the same. So, rushing around and not really being ready for the appointment, which means that if there's a culture of being late, not being accepted, then immediately the meeting is already met with all kinds of unnecessary emotion or sentiments. Okay. At the same time, when we're rushing to get to an appointment, we're not necessarily ready. We didn't have time to set an intention. Also, signs of poor management are low productivity, frustration, impatience. There's a chronic vacillation between alternative goals. Am I going to do this? Should I start this? And there's a difficulty of achieving time and a lot of procrastination going on. So the impact that has, and this is something I want you to listen to and maybe even expand on in terms of the impact that it has on your life, okay? Because this is one of the ways that you can turn it around and motivate yourself is people are irritable, I'm stressed, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I might even be angry because somebody else asked me to do something, and how can I possibly fit this in? People are not trusting me because, if I'm not showing up on time or if I'm not doing my task, they're going to say, oh, Barbara, I can't trust her. She doesn't get things done. So that doesn't feel good. Sometimes there's a lot of waste and rework, so overall, it's sort of like a low productivity. And take this word productivity and think about it in terms of not just I'm at work and I have to produce something, but productivity in as we are creating for ourselves. Like Clementine and Krasimir just talked about, who do I want to be in 2 years? So if I want to change all that, I want to get busy and implement some things in my life that weren't there before. Well, when am I going to do, all these things? So it's important that we're efficient with our time. The first thing I want to talk about is personal working and personal organization style, because it's important for us to have a good system. So I used to do a lot of professional organizing, meaning going into people's homes and offices and help them set up their systems. And I actually really love doing it. Ever since I've been a little girl, for me, getting things organized was kind of comfortable. It's like at least there was an outside control, even when I didn't feel so much in control on the inside. So first of all, you want to think about, are you a visual learner? Or are you a visual person, or are you a camouflage? So what do I mean by that? A visual person needs to see things, okay? I need to have things out. For instance, if you were in my office right now, you would see that right in front of my desk, I have a whiteboard and I can look at it. I'm a visual person. I need to see things. I used to have the whiteboard behind me, okay? Where it didn't really do me much good because it's like I wouldn't necessarily look behind me all the time. If I'm a visual person, a visual learner, we want to have things out. So you want to have systems where you can see things. In the United States, there's more flexibility with the way the sort of systems are being set up, and I'm talking about the offices. So in Europe, I used to be used to, and it's in Israel, it's the same way. We have these binders, and then in the binder you put different letters, and you put them in clear, sort of like in the clear sleeves. But it's, for me, it's all, I can't see what's in it. So what I have set up for myself, it's like I have hanging file folders, and so it's easy for me to see what's in it, and I know where it is. Because one of the things that I want to keep in mind is, if I have a system that works for me, I'm not wasting time. I am lazy. I don't want to spend half hour looking for something. I want to go to the place and say, oh, this is where it is. I'm looking to the right because I have my file cabinet over here. And so I can just go and get it and then just go on with my system. If you're thinking about systems in a kitchen, think about where you have your spices, okay? If you're a visual person, you want the spices out. If you're a visual person, you might want to have glass doors. If you're a visual person, you might have a shelf, like you can see on the right here, where you can actually see the books versus having a door in front of them where you can't see. The camouflage person will have the need to have everything away. Okay, so it's much easier for them to focus and work when everything is, there's nothing on the table. And oftentimes what you will find is that everything kind of looks neat and organized, but you might open up a closet and you see there's all kinds of stuff shoved into the closet. So first task is to figure out, am I more camouflage or am I more visual? And maybe I'm a little bit of both, depending on the different parts of my life. So maybe in my office I'm very visual, and maybe in my in the kitchen I'm a little bit more camouflage. Okay. Why is this important? It's important because it saves you time. 20 minutes of planning saves an average of 2 hours. Okay, so just from a practical point of view, if I can plan and take some time to plan my day, my week, my month, my year, it will save me a lot of time. Okay. The other sort of feel-good aspect of time management is it's peace of mind and it feels good. And that's what I'm after. I like to feel good. I want to have a peace of mind. And so I can bring my best self to the task. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about planning in a general sense. By the way, one of the reasons I decided to pick this topic because it came up yesterday on the mastermind call. So for those of you who were on the call yesterday, it's a little bit of a repeat, but I'm going to add to it. Okay, so we have 24 hours in the day, and if you take that times 7, it turns out to be 168 hours per week. Okay, so that's all. That's how much time it is. Time is not. It's a finite. I make time, but yes, it's a finite. There's a finite amount of hours available for me in the week. So if I have done my work and I know who I am and I know what's important to me, then it'll be easier for me to plan my time. Okay. So, but it's important that you spend some time figuring out who are you, what's important to you, what are my priorities, so that I can figure out how much time do I want to allocate to each one of those things. You might want to start out with just taking a piece of paper and writing down all the important things in your life. So, what is important to me? Sleep, meditating, exercising, being with my family, my work, okay? Spending time with friends and family, learning new things. And so write out all the things that are important to you, and then you want to prioritize them. What is the most important thing to you? So maybe it's being time with your family, spending time with your family. Maybe it's work. There's no right or wrong. It's just a process of being clear about what is the most important. And then you can put a number on them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you want to think about, how much time do I want to spend in this particular area? So I've decided for myself that I want to spend 7.5 hours sleeping. Okay, every day I want to spend 7.5 hours sleeping. Ideally, I like to meditate for an hour. Right now my goal is to meditate for half hour. I like to exercise for an hour. And then there's shower and eating and work. And so this is how I look at my schedule. At the end of the day, or the end of the planning, know that you have only 168 hours. Okay? If you have activities for 200 hours, guess what? You're always going to feel disempowered and frustrated because there's not 200 hours in a day. Okay? So we have to be realistic about what it is that we can actually do. I recommend that you start out with just a calendar. Have all the days the week on the calendar, and you really literally pencil in your ideal schedule. It doesn't mean that you're going to have your ideal schedule tomorrow, really. It just means, this would be my ideal schedule. When would I like to get up? When do I want to meditate? So Clementine and I just talked about this. And now I have this thing of where I get up anywhere between 6 and 6:30, regardless of whether I'm tired or not, because I realize that if I am just sleeping longer because I'm tired, then I'm never really going to get on my schedule. So my goal is to get to bed by 11 and to get up at 10:30 and to get up at 6. That's my goal. And then I can my meditation, I can read my spiritual materials, I can do some stretching, some yoga, and get ready for the day. So, and then I plan in when do I want to do what. Like right now, for those of you who are at home working from home, if you also have to take care of your children, it's even more important that we are practicing good time management, because there's more required of you. Okay, I don't have childcare, my partner's working from home, and we have to be doing our very best to stick to a schedule. Okay, weekly planning. Okay, so that's my general planning and my annual planning. And if I would be really precise about it, I would look at, here's when I'm going on vacation, here when the holidays are. I'm looking at my month, and I say, oh, look at this, we're going to have 8 days off this week because it's Passover, or the weekend is coming. In Israel, on the weekend, the stores are closed. Okay, so at 3 o'clock on Friday, you have to rush to get your stuff done, because until Saturday night, it's closed. I mean, there are some exceptions, but in general, everything is closed. So I want to look at my week, my months, and sort of figure out when am I going to do these things, and put them in the annual schedule. Okay, weekly planning. So I want to look at my week, and I want to decide how much time do I have to get this particular thing done. Because if there's something special that I want to get done, I need to look at, okay, when am I going to plant my garden? Or when am I going to wash the windows? Because this is something that is not part of my routine. Okay, so I want to look and see where I can fit it in. And then the trick to making this really work for you, the trick to having a lot of freedom, is to actually stick to your plan. Okay, if I am just putting it in my calendar, and then I'm just, when the time comes and I say, oh, whatever, the hell with it, then I'm really setting myself up for failure and frustration. So really, the trick to having a lot of freedom is being disciplined with your planning and your schedule. One of the secrets to making this all work, this was like, for me, when I heard this, it was like, wow, is this little piece of information. When you are planning a task, make sure that you assign a time value to the activity. Okay, so if I want to get my windows done, I want to estimate how long is it going to take me to do. If I'm not doing that, and I plan 5 things, and they all take 10 hours, guess what? I'm not going to be able to do it. And so each week, and even each day, I want to assign time value. Okay, I'm on the call with you guys today, so it takes me about an hour because it's 45 minutes and to prepare for myself. If I have to prepare my presentation, I have to schedule some extra time. So everything needs the time value, okay? And so that I can be realistic about when to fit it in and actually get it done. You want to allow for the unforeseen, meaning I want to plan for things that I didn't plan for. So never, ever plan 100% of your time. You always want to have a buffer of 10%. 10% is a good mark of where you can actually be flexible and take care of some of the things that come up last minute that are important for you to take care of. Another important tip is, if it only takes you a minute to do something, do it right away, and to get it off your list. Okay, but really, it's like, if it's going to take you a minute or less, do it right away. Okay, let's see. daily planning, I think I covered most of this already. So for daily planning, the first thing you want to do, so I'm asking you to plan your next day, 5 to 10 minutes in the evening. You want to think about, what are my priorities? Okay, what are the things I must get done? So if I look at my day to day, the things that I must get done are my the coaching sessions that I have with my client, the commitment that I made this morning. I am in charge of taking care of our son until about 4 o'clock. And within that, I have the things that I need to do. And those are my priorities. And then a personal priority is that I have yoga this evening. Okay. So I'm assigning my time values to that. And then I can look at my schedule and see how I can fit it all in. One of the things that's super important to remember is that commitments are always made with yourself. Even though I commit to Krasimir and Clementine, it still starts with I am. Okay, so it still starts with me. I am committing to do this. Commitments that we make with ourselves are usually more difficult to keep. Okay, because I think it's because one of the things that Mia keeps telling us, because most of us suffer from chronic low self-esteem, and we're not good enough, and so we put ourselves last. But we can turn this around. So when you keep your commitments, it's almost like there's an automatic, the little person inside of you that keeps track of, am I keeping my commitment? And every time that I keep my commitment, I actually feel good. And more and more and more and more and more can I trust and rely on myself. So I knew 100% that I would be on this call this morning, because my track record has changed over the years, that I know that I will show up when I make a commitment. And at the same time, when I don't my commitment, my self-esteem will go down, because I start losing trust in myself, and I start losing, I start to stop believing in my word. So for me, just like everybody else, I'm pretty strong with keeping my agreements with others, and the agreements that I'm making with myself, I feel pretty positive about it. There's still room for improvement, which is why it's even more important that I have good time management skills, because I make it more likely for that to actually happen. Do you understand? If I have 2 hours, if I have 200 hours that I plan my week, I won't be able to really do a good job of keeping my own commitments, because my child, of course, my child's always going to have to come first. Okay. So I'm going to open it up for question right now, if that's okay.
When you were talking for being about the culture and being late, a few days ago I was watching a movie for father and son from Pakistan. They went to live in France, and they went for appointment with one coach for the session with the boy. And the coach was frustrated. He was, my God, so angry. He said, "You are late, half an hour." And the boy with a smile, "No, in Pakistan we are all late and we are all happy." So I was, I was just laughing, because it was funny, because in Cyprus it's the same. And what I realized also is that I'm a visual person, because all the time I ask Clementine, where is the salt? She said, "I put in the cupboard." I said, "Why you put in the cupboard? We all the time use this salt. Don't put in the cupboard. I want to see it." So for me, this is great, what you just talk, my love. There are questions here.
Oh, before you think about asking me a question, Krasimir, you just reminded me to say, so we're going to have different styles. Okay, I am a neat freak, and my partner is maybe not as neat. Okay, we always have this pile in the kitchen, and every week I'll say, "My love, will you please take care of the pile?" Okay, so when we have common spaces, we need to have a conversation about, what's the style and how we're going to keep it. The same as in the kitchen, if we're both cooking, what is something that we can create that will work for the two of us?
And also, when you were talking now, remind me, when you were talking to plan your day and everything, If something doesn't work, don't just throw it away, in my experience. Because, for example, with you this morning, we had a problem with the sound. And what actually we did, now we were talking with you through the WhatsApp, because you cannot hear us through the platform. So we found a way this to work. It's not the first what we were planning, but we are quite flexible, so we find a way. What do you say to the people when they plan something, and from the beginning when they see this, this is not working, and they just leave it? Do you think it's good for yourself to do all the time this kind of stuff?
Well, first of all, it's a good question, and we want to look at. You can answer this in different ways. Okay, so the first answer is always, I need to be true to my intention. Okay, if my intention is to be on the call and to make a difference for the people, okay, then I want to do my best that I can in order to make this, whatever we need to do, work. And by the way, somewhere in the middle of the call, I now hear you perfectly through the computer. You know, magic. So I want to be clear of what my intention is, because sometimes the methodology will change. Okay, in Insight, we have this beautiful lecturette of intention versus method. And we have all these methods of what to do, and sometimes we're very quick to pick a method when our intention isn't really clear, and I waste a lot of time. So I want to be flexible. And if all fails, I want to do my very best to complete the task the way I have laid it out for myself. Okay, so if I'm sitting in my office and I'm meditating, and all of a sudden a fire breaks out, I'm not going to continue with my meditation. There's something else that's taking precedent. So I am going to, have to run out of the building or do whatever to take care of myself. So, but only these things only work, flexibility and being true to my intention, when I'm actually having good time management skills. Then I can be flexible. Then I can shift gears, and I can say, guess what? This will be more effective. And one more thing, when I started to assign time values to things, I tell this to my clients, Casimir, and they tell me, I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this. How will I know? Okay. When I put a parameter on it, most of the time, this task that could have taken all day comes in alignment, and you get it done in half hour. I can write an article, a blog, and it can take me 10 hours. Or I can be laser focused and say, listen, this is an hour, this is the time I have, and I'm going to be done with it. Now, sometimes it'll work out that way. A lot of the times it will, and sometimes it won't. But at least this was my intention.
Thank you. We have a few questions.
So Tanya asked, I started a new job and there are a lot of things to be done. How can I say to my boss that I want to have everything done before the end of the month without being too much pushy?
Well, this is a beautiful question. So I would consider this managing up. Okay, so we always have, we always need to manage ourselves, and when we're in a professional situation, we need to manage up and we need to manage down. So I probably would have a conversation with my boss and explain to him or her what am I currently doing, and ask him or her what the priorities are. Okay, and set him up or her, set her up in such a way that I would make it clear that I'm a very good time manager. Okay, and that the tasks that he or she gave me are like, let's say they come to 100 hours and I only have 40 hours. Okay, so first of all, I would be very objective about it and just lay it out like you gave me a round peg and you try to put it in a square. Okay, and or I would be curious. I might say, I don't know, it would be helpful to have a little bit more information, I probably would say, okay, so I have 200 hours worth of work, and there's only 40 hours in the week. Could you help me figure out what's most important, and so that I can actually deliver a good product on time? Because here's the thing, you guys who've been dating and are in a relationship, the first time we are making something okay that is really not okay for us will set a precedent for the rest of the relationship. So if you're going now and are trying to please this person and work for 1,200 hours, even though it's impossible, it's like they're just going to expect for you to do that over and over and over and over again. So one of the things that Mira said yesterday, it's like it's difficult for us to set boundaries because that goes back to our self-worth. So it's important for us to set boundaries and be clear about what we can do and what we can't do, because it will stage your work relationship with your boss for the entire time that you work there.
Thank you, Barbara. So we have somebody else who say how we can do and follow some daily tasks if the work schedule is different every day. It's a little bit difficult when you work in the afternoon, next day in the morning, and next day in the morning I feel tired to do my gym, my meditation, to cook, etc.
I've been working this kind of schedule.
Yes, that's very, very difficult. So I would presume that you would have your schedule for the week. Okay, so let's say, on Monday you're working in the morning and on Tuesday in the afternoon. So I would plan out my entire week. Okay, and then I would put in the pieces, obviously not at the same time, but I would put them in when I can. And one of the key things to you being able to do it is to get enough rest. Okay, so when I am have the schedule that's all over the place, it's most important that you drink a lot of water, that you eat a very good diet, that you get the rest that you need, because then you will have the energy to actually execute your schedule. So think about it. How much time do you spend on social media, Netflixing? How much time is it what I would call like numb time that you could actually spend in other ways? Because exercise actually gives us energy. And so even if you're tired, it's not so much important how much exercise you do. What matters is that you show up. So if you say, I'm going to go running for an hour, and you can't because you're too tired, then walk. Okay, even if we're tired, we can always walk. There's some form of exercise that we can do, and so modify it. I can, completely appreciate that it's difficult to get our activities done when we're tired, but we can, and it's a commitment and a sign of commitment to yourself when you do.
Okay, so which one is it? How to agree. So the other question is how to agree with yourself when you are interested in the too many things and 24 hours are not enough. How to choose and how to speed up yourself.
Yes, 24 hours are never enough, right? So my answer to you would be you're living a little bit in fantasy, okay? Because we have 24 hours, that's all we have. And we have to make decisions, okay? So if you don't want to be frustrated about doing things a little bit here and there, you need to decide. And maybe sometimes you want to decide, this week I'm going to do this, or this month I'm going to do this, and next month I'm going to do that, okay? So I would like to play the piano, I like to do my Hebrew, and I like to meditate and do all these things. So I've decided that right now wouldn't really be a good time for me to play the piano because it wouldn't be satisfying to me because I don't really have the time. But I do a little bit of the things that I want to do. So I meditate a little bit, I read my spiritual material a little bit, I do my Hebrew a little bit. And so I fit in as much as I can in smaller chunks, okay, because this is the time I have. Okay, if I walk around and keep telling myself, oh, but I wish there were more than 24 hours, I'm kind of wasting my time because that's what we have. We have 24 hours, and I make the time, and making the time means I am choosing. I make the choice of what I want to do.
Thank you, Barbara.
So I have another question. Good morning, everyone. Where to fit unforeseen task? Which of our tasks put on hold to make time for unforeseen task? One big or number of small for unseen stuff which needs more time.
Right. So in the very beginning, I said it's important to have priorities. Okay. And my child's always going to be my priority. And I can look at my priorities. And so if my number 6 on the list takes up 2 hours, but it's low on my priority, and something else shows up, then I can move it. It's important that you have the time values assigned, and it's important that you don't schedule all your time. Okay, so remember I said at least 10% of your time every day not to be scheduled. If you know you have a lot of unforeseen tasks showing up, make it 20%. So maybe I only want to schedule 5 hours, because 5 hours, always things are going to show up that I don't know what they're going to be, but they're going to be important. Okay, so work with yourself, and so that some of the time is scheduled and some of the time isn't, so that you can be flexible. But all these, like setting priorities, having time value, having enough buffer, what I would call buffer time, will help you manage your time better. And remember, this is a little bit like a puzzle. You're starting out, you're practicing, you adjust, you practice some more, you adjust until you get it to where it works for you.
So another question is how to get the kids to listen and to homeschool them without pressure. Get them off of the tablet and do the work now the schools are closed. Is 3 hours a day too much?
Wow, those are like a few questions. So let's see how I want to answer that. So it depends a little bit on how you've been getting your kids to do things, okay, and what kind of relationship and what kind of rapport you have with your kids. If your rapport is one of, if you don't do this, then there's going to be a negative consequence, it's one thing. If your rapport is more of a cooperative approach, then it's different. So you need to kind of find the way that you're communicating with your kids, and to get them to cooperate. Now, last week I talked about the fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, what we need to understand is when we tell our children that it's time to study, most likely their limbic brain and their flight, fight, or freeze kicks in. Okay, for them it's more of a threat to their harmony and to what they want to do. So we need to address it in such a way. Okay, so when I tell my child it's time to go to bed and he doesn't want to, if I have a rational conversation with him about it, I'm probably not going to go anywhere. I remember when he was in the car, he's little, he was like 3, and he saw this hot air balloon, okay? And he was all sad because he couldn't see the balloon anymore. And my partner was telling, rationally talking to him, yes, but it's like gone now. We drove on. And I remember saying to her, but you have to speak to his emotions and ask him how he feels about it. And, he was saying that he was sad and he missed the balloon. And I'm telling you this because when we speak to our children this way and we allow them to express their feelings about how difficult it is for them to do the homeschooling, or how difficult it is for them to sit for 3 hours, and really help them deal with their emotions and then come up with the solution, it will be more likely for them to actually listen to us and to cooperate. Okay, and then figure out, it's like, when are we going to work? Hang on. When are we going to work? And then when are we going to play? What is going to be the balance in our day, and so that we have both? I think, by the way, 3 hours is too much, because we learn in circadian rhythms. And so the best way that they studied to learn is you have 2 hours and a 20-minute break, and then 2 hours and then a 20-minute break. And that's true for kids and adults.
Thank you, Barbara. So that's all for the question for today. And we're going to continue now with our gratitude. So will you stay for the gratitude, Barbara, with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So we're just going to do like we usually do, just to take 3 deep breathing, and then we go through the gratitude. So you can place your hands on your heart. I am so thankful and grateful for my children, for their love, for their smile, for their health. I'm so thankful and grateful for my husband, for his love, for his caring, for his support. I'm so thankful and grateful for myself, for being disciplined, committed to myself. I'm so thankful and grateful for the water, for the electricity, so I can enjoy cooking, I can enjoy having bath, shower, anytime I want. I'm so thankful and grateful for the internet, so we can connect and reach each other, reach our loved one. I am so thankful and grateful for this morning community, because we can reach each other, is keeping me on track, and I can expand and grow with micro steps. I'm so thankful and grateful for all the coaches that coming on the call, volunteer and share the skills, their knowledge, their wisdom. I'm so thankful and grateful for the beauty around me, for this beautiful island, the sun, the sky, the sea, because it reminds me of abundance. And I'm so thankful and grateful for my family, for my friends, for their love, for their caring. I'm so thankful and grateful for all of you, so you participating, your commitment to be here on the call. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so thanks for all of you. And so we're going to close this meeting now, and I wish you a beautiful day and a lot of smile, a lot of achievements, be well organized like Barbara just explained us, and see you tomorrow morning. Thank you, Barbara,
See you
again.
tomorrow.
See
You're
you.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.